Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up your telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any topical issue or any issue trending. We speak about it, and you are welcome to pick up a telephone and give us a call. The number to call again is 4420175. And we have our brothers and sisters in the diaspora and anywhere else in the world that you happen to catch us on the internet, social media, you're welcome to give us a call. We welcome callers. You don't have to agree with us, and you could change the subject matter anytime you want. We believe that in small countries like ours, you have to encourage dialogue. We do not have any big challenge with ethnicity. We need to have dialogue. Some of the problems that bigger countries have, we shouldn't have it. We don't need uniformity. We need some level of unity. We don't have to agree with one another, to laugh with one another, and drink with one another, and walk with one another. Every home, every individual, every institution must encourage dialogue and to have amicable settlements. It doesn't mean that when you agree, you're going to walk away laughing. Sometimes both sides leave with a little frown on their face. But it is better that you sit down and discuss issues, come up with an amicable settlement before somebody have to make a decision for you. I think even the Bible tells you that. Go to your brother. Get somebody else. When you have an issue and people suggest a mediator, you should accept it. I think the Caribbean court now, a couple of years now, are constantly encouraging mediation. And sometimes you come out in mediation and you don't agree. You vex like hell. But it's still better than I lose and you win. And both of us sometimes have to give up a little. So I encourage dialogue. Dialogues in your homes. Sometimes I listen to people complain about their parents. And I always ask the question, did your parents get an opportunity to go to college or university or secondary school? And more often than not, the people who doing the most complaining was exposed to formal education much more than the parent. They don't, in other words, they didn't see the trouble the parents see. And I always say to them, if you think you had problem, imagine your mother. And go and speak to your mother about the problems your grandmother had. We cannot have education. We cannot have formal education and behaving like cry babies. We must be able to settle our problems or address the challenges that affect us. It has to be a culture. In your homes, you have to prepare. You have to prepare to have discussion to settle issues. Family is supposed to sit down and discuss issues about investment. What do we do? The income that comes home, we're struggling every month. We can't make it meet. So what do we do to increase the income that comes in? How do we determine what is priority? What is the plan we have for education, for the children? You, the adults, what is the plan you have for retirement? You may not just one morning wake up dead. You may suffer. You may have a stroke. You might become incapacitated. And you have to lie down on a bed for months or years. You may have to wear pampers. And somebody might even have to wipe your bum bum. Are you providing for that? Do you expect that to happen? Or you expect to die in an accident? So these things must be discussed. Sometimes with discussion, you may even remodel your homes as you get older. Grenadians like step. I always remember a Jamaican artist who come to Grenada. Can't remember his name. Somebody might call me and tell me. He said he wanted to build a big, big house with a lot of steps. He came to Grenada once or twice. People like him. He wanted to build a big, big house with a lot of steps. As you get older, it's more difficult for you to walk upstairs. You have arthritis. You stop walk with a bounce. Your head drooping. But we never prepare for these things. You start to work at the age of 20. Sometimes people lucky 16 or 18. You're expected to retire at 60. NIS is raising its pension age. And by the time you're ready to retire, based upon the age that you have, NIS might be giving you pension at 75. So it means between 60 and 75, you have no pension to get. Or even if you're getting one source of pension now, like government workers, some of them would get two pensions. One from government that they never contributed to, and one from NIS that they partly contributed to. But some others would get one pension. So between 60 and 65 or 75, you look at the source of income you're coming. Would it able to take care of you? Yes, caller, welcome.
Morning, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Are you hearing me?
I'm struggling to hear you this morning. You there, caller? All right. Okay, so please call us back. So between, when you start to work at 20, let's say 20, by 60 years, you expect to go on retirement. So you have only 40 years to work, to provide for you and your spouse, your bad habits, your wife. Your wife might want to go on holiday. You might want to drink rum whole day. 40 years you have to do that. Because you're expected to retire at 40. And if you live for 100 years, you have to provide for yourself or make the necessary provisions so your money will be provided for you for the next 40 years. Very interesting. But we never sit down and plan for that. So most people, when they're almost to retire, they start to panic what they're going to do. That is why people who never get involved in business, it is not likely that they use the little pension money they have and invest in business. That is one of the things I think the present government did not understand. That the money they pay out to pensioners may not be readily circulate in the society. We have to sit down and take a different approach. We have children going to school. Our children go to school. And they study psychology and management. They like that. See a girl the last time, she told me she have a degree in psychology and management. Say, well, what happened to you? The day she gets, I noticed she face vex. Say, well, what happened to you and your boyfriend again? They're quarreling. She have a degree in psychology and management. She can't even manage a boy that the only thing he have is a birth certificate and he don't know where it is. And she have a degree in psychology and management. You have children coming out to school with a degree in business. They're looking for a job. They are not trained to find a job for themselves. They're not involved in the groups in the community. Because maybe they have too much a certificate. They're too bright to involve in the groups in the community to change the dynamics on the ground. We have to find answers to our problems. It's a small country we have. Don't expect England or America or China to solve your problem. These countries come to help to solve theirs. Because of all the conflicts in the world, small countries like Grenada could end up pawns in the game. And if we don't have a culture or habit of negotiating in our homes, in the community, then when they turn politicians, you believe overnight they're going to get that skill? No. Sometimes they're intimidated by the mere presence of others. And they make dumb, rudimentary blunders. This thing we have to culture it in us. Every department should have a think tank. You're not supposed to let people come from outside and look at you and say, what you're doing is laughable. You're doing dumb things. If you have a think tank, they will sit down and do a post-mortem or sit down and chat the way forward, but always trying to come up with answers to solve the problem. We're missing that. I look at this present government and I'm worried. I don't chastise the government on mistakes they would be making in terms of getting things done. That's all right. They're going to make mistakes there. But I look at the policy. And based upon the policy I see, the written and unwritten policy, we seem to be heading down a trajectory, a road that could cause significant problems in tomorrow. And we should be, these things ought not to be. You see, we're able to go back in history. We're able to go back, way back, and see the mistakes and blunders government in the past have made. And we're not supposed to make them now. At least we should avoid making them. But some of the mistakes I see, the government policy now is going to contribute to low productivity. It is going to contribute to fracture and divisiveness in our society. And homes should be sitting down and discussing issues, because whenever you find a government that is unable to find answers or to settle the issue in this country, it affects the home. If you have high unemployment, you're likely to have more social problems. The statistics is there all over the world. If you have high unemployment, you're likely to have more problems with the police, with the law. Pretty larceny is going to go up. You're going to have serious health problems because people cannot pay for basic health facilities. Difficult to take them to the dentist to do preventative health. So they only go to the dentist when they want to take out their teeth. And if they have too much pain, they open their mouth in front of a carpenter with a pliers in their hand. So government have to be always cognizant of high unemployment is a factor in a country. Particularly when the high unemployment is among young people. They have a lot of energy. They're going to increase gambling. Already in Grenada, we have the institutions set up for gambling all about. So you could have addiction as a result of gambling. Because a number of people could get overboard in gambling, particularly women. They are concerned in other countries about the addiction of women in gambling. It's not that women gambling more than men, you know. But if you have 60% of the household led by women, and then you have a high percentage of women gambling, less income is likely to come in the household. And the woman will spend less time in her household. And they say when mommy moui, family fini. So if the mother is always away from her home, and she's away from her home because she's sick, she have a dollar and a dream, then you're more likely to have issues taking place in the home that you would not like to photograph. So it is in government's interest to make jobs, to provide jobs, or provide income for the people who are unemployed to avoid social decadence. You have more people involved in the sex trade if you have high unemployment in a country. You have more incidents of predial larceny and more chances of higher crime. And people have more time on their hand. You have a number of gambling, the gambling that is not legalized because government is not making tax on it. That's where the men spend a significant part of the day below a tree, gambling. So governments have to understand that. If we have an education system that is unproductive, then the education system becomes a factory producing individuals who are not competitive on the job market. It compounds the problem of high unemployment. Because the people you have looking for jobs, they don't have the skills or the talents to get the jobs that are available. And you have massive frustration. So our governments have to think. Our education system have to constantly examining themselves. If you're not productive and you have a school with 20, 30 teachers in it, you're supposed to sit down and think tank, brainstorm. Even though you establish 3, 4, 5 teachers to be the think tank in the school, brainstorm, what could we do to increase productivity? You can't pass the buck. You cannot say it is not me, so I don't care. I am seeing on social media a number of teachers in Grenada writing on social media, and I'm disturbed because they seem to be passing the buck. You can't pass the buck. You are in the schoolhouse for 13 and a half years of the child's life. And if at the age of 16, 17, that child is exiting school without the minimum requirement, then I don't see how you could blame anybody else. So you need to establish think tanks in every school and find out ways in which you could change the productivity level in your school. You don't need a genius to tell you that. You don't need no rocket scientist to tell you that. We must believe that we have what it takes to address the challenges that faces us. Let us not increase the challenges we have. This present government is increasing the challenges that we have. The policies on the surface are counterproductive to solving the problems we have. They're creating more problems. And government should not be doing that. You see, you must examine the policy of a government. I don't bother too much with what individuals may say and do here and there, unless it's a widespread. An individual going to make mistake. When he's speaking, he's going to make mistakes. And if he get corrected, but he said, that is what I have to say. So you got to look deeper to see if other people is advocating or they have the same utterances. It means they might have sat down and come up with this unwritten policy. But we could change things in this country. I believe we could change it. You don't have to be angry with your neighbor because you and your neighbor not on the same religious terms. You don't have to be angry with your neighbor because you and your neighbor not on the same political terms. You don't have to angry with your neighbor because you and your neighbor is not in the same ethnic group. We all could work together. We don't need uniformity. We need unity of spirit. If you have 10 shops in the area, 10 businesses in the area, it doesn't mean that you have to hug up one another to survive or to be in unity, but you have to respect one another. If you don't have something in this business, you send the person to this one. You may go in a different business. You support one another. And we could do better. We should do better. Our best brain, our highly trained brain, I don't satisfy with us individuals who have had tertiary education. You have your master's, you have your bachelor's degree, you have your PhD. What are you doing in the community? How are you changing the community? Are you involved in the groups in the community? Are you involved in a discussion in the community? How are you changing the community? How are you impacting the knowledge that you receive in formal training? How that is impacted in the country? That is the reason you take government money and study. The only reason you get government money to study is because there is this hope that after you get educated, you'll be impacted in the community. Otherwise, our communities are taking too long to develop. Irrespective of all the input you put in it. We have, from the 70s, 80s, we have built a lot of schools, a lot of educational institutions. We have the St. George's University. We have achieved a lot in infrastructure. But we seem to be leaving some of our people behind. And I'm extremely concerned that this government, the National Democratic Congress, policy is regressive. You're turning the hand of the clock back. They're creating division. They're sowing the seed of discord. And I don't even think they know why. When we do damage to our society, it takes years to repair that society. I see some of the institutions almost being agents of the government destructive policy. And it's difficult because these people are highly intelligent people. These people have a lot of certificate, so you don't expect them to behave that. They ought to know better. The Public Service Commission is some worrying trends and signs. I notice even in the Parliament, some of the questions are asked and the reaction of the ministers is worrying. And then I look at the Public Service Commission. The Public Service Commission must never let itself be used as an agent of restorative justice. We look and see the action taken against the Labour Commissioner. Unjustified. The reasons that advance is practically laughable. We are hearing other actions taken by the Public Service Commission. We listen to the government, the individual responsible for government business in Parliament, the answers that he has vis-a-vis the Public Service Commission. It's worrying. The Public Service Commission must not let their names be jumped up in public. From time to time, people take pot shots at institutions, but without clear justification. But it seems now with greater regularity, you're able to compile evidence that these institutions have become agents of government restorative justice policy. They have to remember, you people have gone through the service and people have a high measure of respect for you. You're not perfect. You have things in the closet, but you're not perfect. But now you represent an institution when you are supposed to be more mature and you're not only supposed to do justice, you're supposed to appear and seems as if the decision you take is fair and just. If it is found glaringly wanting, you're going to dilute the significance of the Public Service Commission. The Teachers Union and the Public Workers Union have representation on the Public Service Commission. 5 persons make up that commission. But if you all are politicized and you all become agents of the government restorative justice policy, your name going to jump up in the public. It will be tarnished, and the reputation and the character and the significance of the commission will be diluted. And that would be a sad day for us. The Cocoa Association and the Nutmeg Association, you have not been doing justice to the farmers. You don't even want to provide information for them. You function in a world of your own. You're close to the seat of power. Many of your top members are closely involved and associated with the National Democratic Congress. I have said on many occasions, it's difficult to draw a line of demarcation between the Nutmeg Association, the Cocoa Association, and the NDC. I look and see a new government come in power, and so far, it's difficult to see what is the plan that they have for creating new jobs. 11 months now. What is the plan you have for creating new jobs? All you've been doing is getting rid of jobs. And what is worse and what is frightening, you don't have a history of creating new jobs in the country. What is the plan you have for agriculture? And what is worse, you are firing people involved in agriculture. marketing board. St. Lucia is expanding its marketing board. But you close down ours, or you half close it down, and you don't know what you do with it. But workers lost their job. Over 30 workers from the Granba estate lost their job. Workers involved in pest management unit, involved with the source of industry, lost their job. Workers from Karakou, women who've been working between 5 to 19 years, lost their job. I know of individuals in Grenada who went and trained in Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, Guyana, 19 years working with government, lost their job. A number of people involved in park or the grounds preparation lost their job. The temporary road workers, the bushers, Coco Jena Pie, they're watching you with sadness on their face. Coco Jena Pie. You promise to make them permanent. And then you have them home, wallowing in sorrow. And on top of all that, you mislead the nation by telling them you're on a transformative agenda. Dramatic change they expected. Instead of that, you have political vengeance, restorative justice. For the last 9 months, I've been trying to understand what you mean by restorative justice. But as I see it unfold in the public, as I watch its practicality, according to Maurice Bishop, its workability on the ground, I think it is tantamount to victimization and political vengeance. I do hope you could explain to it. I see the new minister, the new parliamentary representative that joined decolonization, embrace transformation. But I wonder if she knows that the government transformation program is really restorative justice, which is tantamount to political victimization. How that will play out in your constituency. I know of many people in your constituency who has lost their job. You have 30 workers on the Granby estate have lost their job. And some of the individuals who lost their job from the source of pest management unit come from your constituency. The Ministry of Agriculture has not met with the source of exporters. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, I was awaiting your call long time.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Thank you.
Mr. Pierre, I thought when the backbencher leave NNP, I thought she would have sit down wrong side and then thought she would have sit down in the back. You understand, Mr. Pierre?
She didn't sit down in the back, you know. She crossed the floor.
Well, she sit down in the back of the ministers and them guys. She sit and she go always sit down in the back because she don't win in a sit no time at no election again.
Well, I don't think she consent is what she could get now, you know, caller.
You know what she getting now? She's trying to grab it fast because she knows she don't know where to go again.
Yeah, maybe she was a Saturday.
She don't know where to go again. Because people don't notice. Yeah. Clemently do that to do worse than that, you know, and where's him today? Thank you.
Yes, caller. You see, when a government bring restorative justice in a country, it could be frightening for some people because the government is on a political victimization program. And some people sometimes it's difficult to blame. It's not to blame, but understand why people do what they do. Sometimes people believe so much of my family will be affected because my blood is green. So much of my family will be affected. So if you can beat them, join them. That's a possibility. I don't know if that is a fact because not much explanation or justification or rationale is given. The individual didn't depart her fold because she had differences with the policies. She did not depart her fold because she had serious issue with the strategy of the political party. She seems pretty comfortable with that. So it could well be she departed her fold for greener pastures. I, over the years, have been watching this greener pasture story. The community where I come from, Hermitage, Ladig, Munich, Bruge Grove, scores of Grenadians left and went away for greener pastures. I had the opportunity to speak to a few of them. Some of them regret it because they left green pastures and go to places they think had greener pastures. Some of them was young millionaires in Grenada. Their parents was farmers. They had maids and servants, informal maids and servants. They went to New York to turn maids and servants. In their home, they had informal maids and servants. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, scholar.
good day, brother.
Yes, brother.
Mr. Pierre, the caller was just calling you. He can't see, man. He's blind. What did I call you to tell you? Mr. Pierre,
Caller.
look.
Caller.
Yeah.
Caller. Always, let's be
Yes.
careful with, hear me out. We want to encourage callers to call. And you may be able to see, but you might differ with the caller too. So tell me what you're telling me.
But I see the woman sit down in the middle, those people and them, because there's one who bench here and all of them sitting alongside the table. Anyhow, let me tell you. So the Friday gone, the Prime Minister had a meeting in Vendôme, Mr. Pierre. And asked the Prime Minister a simple question. Asked him why he didn't save the money for Grenada. And what he said, they didn't ask him. What kind of Prime Minister is that?
Why he didn't save the
Prime
money?
Minister.
Caller.
Yes.
Who is the Prime Minister you
Yes.
understand?
Not the Prime Minister.
You see what has happened? You see why, hold on. You see why does that to correct you? Because sometimes you don't say things that don't make no sense. All right. You ask the opposition leader.
The former Prime Minister said they didn't ask him.
The opposition leader.
I'll be there in the country. Yes, the former Prime Minister.
Yeah.
He said they didn't ask him. I find that was blatant foolish.
Why didn't save the money for what? Why didn't he? Caller. You ask him why he didn't save the money for what?
For the country. The 22 million pounds that the command leave for us. Why did he save it? He said they didn't ask him. Mr. Pierre, listen to me. I find that blatant disrespect to the country.
Caller, you ask him that and he said they didn't ask him?
I asked him that and he said the people, in other words, the party, the leading party, the government party didn't ask him. And he said they didn't ask him.
Okay.
Mr. Pierre, I want to praise the present government for trying to get back some of that money. And I give them thumbs up. I praise them 200, I give them 200% thumbs up. Because that money they don't have to pay back. And if they lose it, And I'm glad the English people restore it because it was lost and it was restored. And what make it worse, the former prime minister, he's saying that in Vendome Day, and he laughing, he happy, he glad that happened. I could never see this man love this country. This man is a wicked man to say that Grenada lose $22 million, million pounds, and the prime minister he laughing, glad in Parliament, and coming at the pay, right?
Okay, caller. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Trying to make out. We have a next caller on the line. Caller, welcome. We lost this caller too. I was trying to really make out to understand what the caller's saying, but it's a challenge, so later on I might cipher it out and comment on it. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller.
Come on, man. Me and you go tie up with that, you know.
No, we always have to. Caller.
I
Caller.
don't understand you.
Caller.
Blocking everybody.
Caller.
Tell you.
We have to listen to one another.
And say what?
Yes, that is so important. That is what, caller,
Important?
that is what causing all this big issue in Grenada, you know. We have to respect one another and listen to one another. And we cannot behave.
I tell you already, when people say something, you educate your own self. You listen what people have to say. The man don't know what he say yet, you know.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm trying to cipher out.
Up to now, that man doesn't. He asked the former prime minister about the money. What money? What is the money? And they tell him they didn't ask him.
If the meeting was, if the meeting he spoke about was on the Facebook, if it was on the internet, I might go back and understand. If he said he asked the question, and he did, I might get bearing on it and speak about it. But we always have to try to have the level of tolerance.
Let me stop. A lot of people want to make the comment, and one person just making a set of comment.
Yeah, but he didn't stay that long.
All right, Mr. Pierre, just sit down and listen what everybody has to say.
Yeah, thank
Have
you.
a evening.
Thank you. We have to get in the habit of tolerating one another. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, I would like
Yes,
to know
caller,
what
welcome.
asked the question. I was in a meeting. That man never was there in a meeting and he didn't ask no question.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because, you know, it was a little bit difficult to follow, you know?
He was never asked.
Yeah. All right, caller, thank
Never
you.
asked in that meeting. He's a liar.
Yeah, you was in the meeting?
I was in a meeting, yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe you just make a low punch. Yes. We still have to be tolerant to one another. If we listen to one another, then we may be able to help one another to understand. Yes, caller, welcome.
Afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah, welcome, caller.
I watched the meeting from the starting, and this junkin man was never around that meeting. So you see how NDCN does lie? That man could lie. That man was never around that meeting. He asked, and he bought the prime minister. First, he shame. The man lying. I don't know what happened to this man. This man always calling and he can't make a good comment, you know.
Yeah, but we still have to listen to one another.
Lying.
Okay.
He asked any kid with any question. When he was in that meeting, he was never down.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, thank you. And that's important. We want on the station, when we're reporting, to speak the truth. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes,
Good
caller,
afternoon,
welcome.
Mr. P. How you do?
Yeah, welcome, brother.
How you do?
Welcome, good.
Right. So you see how misinformation is spread?
Well, it's good
Mr.
people
Pierre.
to correct it.
Right. So let me show you how. Do you remember the meeting that was in Paraclete the night when a guy on radio said there was fighting and chest pulling and chest pelting?
Well, I was in that
and
meeting.
you, Mr. Pierre, was there and you said no,
No.
and nothing so happened?
No, I was in that meeting.
So you see how so you see where they just get the misinformation from and you see how it just spread easily?
Yeah, you go on social
You understand what
media.
I'm trying to get at now?
You spread
Ah.
But no, I think
So hold on.
are-
So, Mr. Pierre, do you know that person on the radio never apologized for saying such a blatant lie to Grenadians? Let me tell you what I heard this morning. That individual saying he's condoning the members of parliament to disrespect the honorable MP for Northwest, Dr. Mitchell. He's condoning that, right? When you are spewing such venom on radio, remember, government ministers and government MPs does not stay in government forever. Respect goes wrong and it comes wrong. Careful for what you all wish for. I respect the honorable PM when I see him. I will say honorable PM, honorable minister, whoever I see. But when you're on radio, as a civilian, as a person of what's supposed to be given information, and you're giving venom and vile freaking venom to that, Mr. Pierre, we in for a slippery slope. And Mr. Andy Williams, honorable Andy Williams, take your time. Take your time, brother. Honorable King James, take your time.
Caller.
No, let me finish. Take all the time.
Okay.
Take all the time. All you go on too much. As ministers, learn, listen and learn. And to the Speaker of the House, Honorable Kato, please learn parliamentary procedures. Because watch me, if we continue going on the road at this stage, we will not have a country to govern anymore. We will become lawless. Mr. Pierre, have a good afternoon.
Yes, caller. I don't think we're going to let this country be lawless. We have a lot of reference point that we could use in history. What we need to do is to encourage radio personalities in particular. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. And yes, caller. All right, we have a little technical break there. You there? All right, we lost that caller. And remember to turn off your radio or the device you're using because we have a serious feedback on it. Yes, I think we mature enough to constantly encourage one another to be respectful. Over the years, we have had radio personalities that was tolerated, particularly by the National Democratic Congress, to be extremely disrespectful on radio. And you see what happened? You in power now. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello?
Welcome, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre. Now, first of all, I think the gentleman that was trying to make the point, he wasn't aware of what he's trying to say. He couldn't get his act together at all. But I agree with you that sometimes you have to give people a chance to hear their views because we want to hear the other side of the stories too. But the gentleman definitely was not in a position to explain anything. And secondly, if it's true that he asked Dr. Mitchell why he didn't save the money, how could Dr. Mitchell save the money? When the money was lost, the government in power that knew that Dr. Mitchell didn't lose the money, so you don't expect how, and they didn't come to Dr. Mitchell and tell him, okay, we lost this money, we want you to give us a help. So how could Dr. Mitchell save it? I mean, let us think of ourselves. The money was there. When we were ready to use it, they said they lost it. They said they went to Barbados. They didn't carry Dr. Mitchell in them in Barbados. They didn't tell him that they was going to Barbados. So how could he have saved it? I mean, that's common sense.
Yeah.
But that gentleman, sometimes you'll give him a little too much leeway. But it's right to hear him. But sometimes you let him go on too much because he don't have a point on what he's saying. He cannot answer a question. He cannot face the facts. Did he know when they lost the money?
Caller.
Did he know what arrangement they make to get back the money?
Caller, when you decide to stick with the truth,
I didn't hear you.
When you decide to stick with the truth, it's very difficult for some people to challenge you.
I accept that.
And that's one of the most important things.
Yes, but he has to be careful. When you come in on radio, you have to remember that he's not speaking to you. He's speaking to everybody that's listening.
Okay.
So if you don't have facts and you don't have a point, then leave it there.
Right.
For instance, the matter with the young lady in Parliament, I personally, somebody said it on my phone for me 7 times, plus that I heard it from the Parliament when she made the statement. So right now, the Speaker of the House have the right to tell her, listen, the last time he was in Parliament, I have facts to prove that it was a mistake. And if she doesn't admit, then we can hold her in things. But I definitely felt that, I don't know why, if she was making if she deliberately did it, but all reports show that she did definitely refer to big dogs. Right? So we have to be careful. But I don't think she really meant to insult anybody or call anybody in the wrong derogatory way. But she definitely said it. So the speaker now have to show that he's on top of things. That's where he comes in now. The speaker must show. And I wasn't too pleased with the speaker in the parliament at all. Because even when the question was asked to Dr. Mitchell asked a question, the kind of answer that came from the other side was not what is expected. Right? And he was showing earlier on that he was trying to control Dr. Mitchell when he was about to speak, telling him he cannot report to and Dr. Mitchell told him, listen, he's more learned than that. He's fall in the trap.
I think the speaker is going to fall in a lot of trap if he don't appear to be fair. Because if you notice, some of these comments didn't come from the opposition.
No.
It is coming from the wider listeners.
Exactly.
So the speaker of the house have to recognize that even when the opposition don't object, the wider listenership is going to take issue with them.
Yes.
And the National Democratic Congress seems to be the real plays on social media. And they have dominated it for a long while. But over the next coming months, I think there will be much on social media.
Let me give my NMP personnel a little advice. We must not get too hot over those things. We have to be able to confront them, but not getting too hot. Otherwise, we're not doing it better for NMP, you know.
Yeah.
All have seen and come short. So if we get too hot, we may say things that we shouldn't say too.
Yeah.
Keep we cool and attack them because about them. But if we get too hot, we will not be in a position to answer them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go on.
Yes, you see, the government of Grenada is opening up itself. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Mr. Bridgman, just like the lady. How he know the lady don't mean what he think? He just like the lady, just to be just like her.
All right, caller, thank you. The government has walked away from the press. Even the press the government name as the one they believe that is fair, they're afraid to deal with this press. So the government is opening up themselves for a lot of speculation, for rumors, for questioning. The government seems to prefer their agents on social media to answer questions for them. I think this is not in their interest. They're running away from the questions, even from Parliament. So these questions going to go on social media. If the National Democratic Congress seems to be more comfortable with social media, then those questions will be asked on social media. I think the government should be wise and provide explanation and reason for your action. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
I thought we say we want opposition, so everything what going on inside the Parliament, you want to know. Well, you have opposition now and nobody don't want to speak what's going on inside Parliament?
But we're speaking about it.
Not so we have to hear it.
Well, the government is shying away from the media.
Mr. Pierre, that's not how we have to listen to it, you know. When the former Prime Minister asks a question about things, the Prime Minister is supposed to answer it.
But he's not answering. What you going to do?
What is the answer?
He's not answering.
Well, right.
So we have to go on social media and ask him.
Everybody saying he's supposed to have an opposition in Parliament. Okay, we have your opposition now, and up to now, since 1 year now, all Parliament, nobody don't answer the question yet.
Well, so maybe the new sister on the block going to answer.
Well, we don't want talk on the block. The Prime Minister has to, when the opposition leader asks him questions, he has to answer it in Parliament answer question. Something happened in Parliament inside the place in the country, and you don't know in Parliament you have to ask that question. So if right now he don't working with opposition, so when we go back in power, we don't want no opposition.
Thank you, caller, and we have perhaps room for last caller. We have room for another caller, and we welcome Culture Man. Where you? We welcome for another caller to call and tell us something. I mean, the fact is that is yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Well, once you see the parliamentary procedures are not correctly followed, we could correctly now and say that the current government wasn't really prepared for where it is today. Yeah, and in the interest of the country, yeah, it is not good, and they should revise this. And if they don't have the right people in place, they carry on what ought to be carried on, then we are up for some serious problems. As one of the callers said, if the Prime Minister don't answer the question which is being asked by the leader of the opposition, then, I mean, democracy is based on certain things, right? And if you don't practice it along those lines, then you're up for questioning, yeah? Make matters worse. And they have to be very careful in getting this thing done. I mean, it's not just a business as usual, something, of that nature. You have a country to govern, and I said govern and not to rule. And I think they should be approaching all the mistakes they have made in the last 8-9 months. They should revisit it and try to correct themselves. Yeah.
Yes, caller.
Yeah, it is not good for the interest of the country. It is not good, and the country should come first. Yeah, before anything.
Thank you, caller.
Take care.
Well, as we come to the end of the program, I think it's important that the government is avoiding the press. The government claim information will be given on need-to-know basis. I think that is an insult. I was disappointed and surprised that our journalists and media personnel accept that so readily. The government is walking away from press conferences after cabinet meeting. The government is not answering questions in Parliament. The government introduced restorative justice, which is tantamount to political vengeance. The government is traveling as if they are excited children. They've spent over $1 million already on traveling, and they're not giving any answer, any response. Even ministerial report has been lacking, and some of the ministers seem to be disrespectful and insulting. So this is a point, it would be a very contentious policy, and it would be a point where a lot of questions would ask. The government should avoid. Failure to do that, you're going to have a battle on social media that would not be in the government's interest. And we'll be with you again next week. On Monday, we have a holiday. Whit Monday is a holiday, so we will not be with you on Whit Monday. We have the Catholic Parish Harvest. Sunday is Pentecost, very important day in the life of the Catholic, and it's the beginning of the Catholic Church. So we're back with you on Tuesday on our program On Target. Thank you very much.